All right, welcome back. So we start where we left from previous video. So we were mentioning that there are three important sections in MSCA proposal: excellence, impact, and implementation. Although their weightage is different, but they are equally important. So you have to put same effort, same importance to each section. So if you want to be on the safe side, you have to score high in each section. So we will start with the excellence section. So first, I will give brief overview of different parts of excellence section and what you should really write in them. Then I will show the example from my proposal where how I have structured each part and how I have used headings and subheadings and how I used tables wherever necessary or other highlighting tools to emphasize the things that I wanted to show. And then later in this video, I will show the evaluation report of my two proposals, the first proposal which could not get funded and the second proposal which was ultimately funded. So talking about excellence part, so here you have to basically this is very key part where you the first two pages of your proposal that contain the information where reviewers are almost already decide whether to fund this proposal or not to fund this proposal, because they know the score which is needed in each field to get funded. And so the excellence part should contain defines the merit and ambition of your project. It's the most heavily weighted and sets the foundation for other parts. So if you score low in your excellence part, which is again 50%, you are not going to get funded, even though your other parts may lack any weakness. So you have to focus on this one, and the important things are clarity, novelty, and feasibility of your proposal, and you have to demonstrate that you have good grasp of the field and your proposal have very strong innovative aspects. So the first section of your excellence part is about the quality and pertinence of the project. So these words are a little bit confusing when we look at the already written titles on each section. So we don't change them, we keep them, but you are free to make subheadings in each section. So here you should clearly demonstrate what is the background, what is the current state of the art, and what your objectives are. They should be clear and ambitious. What are the knowledge gaps that are after the state of art? You should explain the knowledge gap and then define your objectives, so maybe 2 to 3 objectives, and try to link these objectives with the knowledge gaps that you just mentioned in your proposal, and then show how your project goes beyond the current research or current state of the art. That's what you have to demonstrate. This is very, very important in your proposal. So then the reviewers are satisfied and they look to the other sections that this something looks interesting and you have done this in a very clear way, not putting ambiguous information or too long sentences. In a crystal clear manner, you have to range and tell these things. The second section in this excellence part is the soundness of your methodology. So methodology is from physical sciences is more about the method that you will adopt to achieve those goals. For example, for me, I was a synthetic chemist, and I demonstrated here the ways how I will synthesize the material that have those kind of amazing properties. And this section for me was more about how I will synthesize them, like the synthetic involved synthetic schemes, and but also I have to explain that this what I am proposing here is feasible. I have to give literature examples that these methods will work, and also I have to relate it to the resources, and my skill set that I learned in my PhD will be helpful, my previous training, and all this as your host expertise, your secondment. This will make it feasible, and it is feasible within the time frame. This is also, you have to make a section in your proposal where you explain the soundness of your methodology. So this is more about how you will do your science, and this science is feasible, and here you have to justify the role of secondment. I would highly recommend to include secondment in your proposal. So you are basically allowed to 1/3 of your 2 year, you can add a secondment of about 8 months. But I would highly recommend that 2 to 3 months or maybe 4 months of secondment, because this highly relates to your MSCA goals and your proposal, because you're proposing something that is interdisciplinary, and you're proposing that those interdisciplinary nature thing you would not get from one host, and you need another host for secondment where you will learn these skills. And this belongs to the mobility and also interdisciplinary nature of MSCA proposal, and this is highly encouraged and appreciated in your MSCA proposal. And you have to clearly tell that what you need in your secondment is really available in that lab, and that person is really expert, or his lab is really expert in this field, and I will do that there. So then third section is about the quality of supervision and hosting arrangements. So this is slightly easier because you're going to a supervisor which is expert in certain field, and it has some record of mentoring, getting awards, grants, and managing big proposals. So this is where you highlight this. So for me, I make a table of my host, which was very famous in Europe, and he has a lot of ERC funding and managing big teams, and so you highlight that here. So I made a table for that. It was very easy, and then highlight the institutional resources and their infrastructure. For example, any special equipment they have, any other special facilities they have that will be useful for your proposed plan. So you have to explain those things there, and then how your career development opportunities exist there, and you can relate that with different kind of activities, workshops that will help you to boost your career. And then explain that the host environment is supportive for the researcher, how many independent researcher that lab has produced, future leader that lab or host has produced. So this all justifies that your host is capable. It has all infrastructure, all resources that are needed to accomplish the proposed objectives and goals of your proposal, and it will help you to really become an independent researcher in future. So I have to wear on my glasses. I'm not so good at watching screen for too long. So what is two-way transfer of knowledge is that you go to the lab, and so what things you will learn. So just don't say that you will learn new skills or new techniques. You have to mention their names, and any soft skills, any new methods, or any new techniques or equipment that you will run. You have to mention their names. They should be demonstrated on your proposal. And similarly, you should also look at that lab. What is lacking in that lab that you will bring? What your PhD training was about. Maybe you learned some skills that they have not experienced in that field, or they might have some weaknesses and you have some strengths that you will contribute. So it could be like special soft skill, or some new techniques, or some new knowledge. And this shows that there is a mutual benefit and two-way exchange of knowledge, which is really appreciated in MSCA. So also include some structured learning, like there might some workshop that your host organizes, or some possibility of mentoring any master or PhD students in the host lab, and also explain what when you will go to secondment, you will get new skills there, and when you come back to your host, and you will transfer those skills, and this way you will really demonstrate that that both parties will be benefited from this MSCA experience. So next section is the quality of the researcher. So it's all about you. So here I would really emphasize that we should sell ourselves. So what we have achieved so far during our PhD and previous training, like in terms of publication, their impact or impact of your research, or you solve any problem during your research, you should really put it here. And any awards like fellowships or any travel grants that you achieved, you should really mention them here. So show also the potential of leadership and independent research. So maybe you solved a problem that was really a big issue for your lab in your previous lab, and you focused on it and you solved it, so you should demonstrate it here. Also, you should demonstrate if you have mentored any undergrad students or any of your junior PhD students in your previous lab. You should also bring that here. So this demonstrates that you have leadership potential and potential for independent thinking and independent research. Also, you should mention if you have any international or interdisciplinary experience during your PhD, you visited some other labs or other groups, or even if you traveled to other countries, you should really tell here. And also demonstrate, this is very important, demonstrate the match between your profile and the project. So this is really important, because all what you are planning or what you are proposing depends on your capability, and this you should make a separate section and explain that why you are the best person who will accomplish this project, and why this is the right time, you're in the right phase of your research that you can achieve these goals. And so this is really important, and you should clearly demonstrate it in your proposal. So now I will show you how I structured my proposal and what were the headings and the subheading that I were using. So this is the first section of excellence. So my structure was, I divided this one into 8 subsections. So the first one is background. So the background was mostly like 3 to 4 sentences long, and I then introduced my research topic, so which was also 4 to 5 sentences long. And here I put this figure. This is the summary of my proposal. So the first section was about VN. I blurred it because it has some confidential information of my proposal, but this can still give you an idea that how you should write your introductory figure. So first was the VN. What was the what are the bigger picture goals, and then what I want to achieve, the objectives of my proposal, or how I will do them, and then was future impact or near future impact of my research in my field or in general. So this figure is very important if you should really put some effort on it, and the font and the picture should be clearly visible and this gives an idea for even a general scientific audience that what you're really planning. And then comes the state of art. So I dedicated a separate section for the state of art, and I made a separate figure for the state of art, and I put values over there, like what kind of numbers in terms of values, like the state of art is here. And what I am what I am doing is beyond that state of art, and is a next level or the forefront in my field, and it has not been tried before. So then I come to literature or knowledge gaps. So I identified three knowledge or literature gaps which I'm going to fill, and then I move to the next section of the objective. So the objectives, I divided them into three separate objectives and related to the knowledge gap that I mentioned in the previous section. So I linked my objective, that my objective, if achieved, will fill this. For example, objective 1 will fill knowledge gap 1, and objective 2 will fill knowledge gap 2, and so on. So up to here I was finished on page 1, and I moved to the page 3 for my objective 3. And then it's about the originality and how my research is beyond the state of art. So I made a separate section for this one, and I clearly tell that what I am planning has not been done before, and this is really something interesting, and I am the right person to do this, and this is really novel and original idea. And then I made a section for how ambitious and innovative my plan is, and I told them that making or synthesizing these material is not easy. It will be very challenging, but in the feasibility section I explained that the resources, my lab expertise, and the secondment and my previous training all align to achieve this goal. And somewhere in I also when I wrote the objectives, I made this short table, like what is the overarching goal. If they don't want to read, they have short time, but still they can read by reading this overarching goal, which is achieving novel magnetic graphenoid with atomic precision through bottom of solution phase synthesis at a minimum of milligram scale, and tune them as room temperature spin qubits with long spin coherence time for error-free spin qubit operations. So this was kind of a summary of what I want to achieve through my proposal. So this was all about part 1 of the excellence. So I divided into 8 subparts, and I put effort. So up to here I was almost finished page number 2. There was a little bit space on the bottom of my page number 2 left. So when I wrote this section, so I really put effort on it. I included 4 figures and 1 table in this excellence part 1. So then moving to the next part, which is soundness of methodology. It is second part of the excellence, and how your methodology is sound, and how you will do this, and what resources you will use. You have to explain these things here. So for me, I am a synthetic chemist, and here I gave a detailed scheme how I will make these material, how I will synthesize them through multi-step solution synthesis. So again, I blurred this information because this is something confidential. I'm working on it, but this gives you an idea that how, if you are a chemist or synthetic chemist, so you can follow this way of describing your methodology. But if you belong to another field like physics or devices, so you can explain how you will make these devices, and how you will realize them, or how you will test these devices, their performance or applications. So again, I propose some other materials, and I show that in this synthetic scheme, and then I come to work package 4, which is about magnetic characterization. So where I will do, here I involve my secondment that I will do their magnetic studies on with the help of my second host. And then the work packages was the fifth was about how I will tune my material through structural modification. And then comes the second subsection in this soundness of methodology is how sound it is, how it will be feasible, and why this method is better than other available methods. So I compare with other methods how these things are normally made, and what I am proposing, this is a better way of making them. It gives me more advantages, and then I relate it to my previous PhD experience, and then my host expertise and the expertise of my second host and my secondment. All these combined together will ensure that this method is sound, and this can be executed within the time frame of MSCA, and this is realistic. So then I made another section which I mentioned that this research is interdisciplinary. Here you have to demonstrate the interdisciplinary aspects of your science. For example, for me it was like I'm a synthetic chemist, so it involves chemistry, organic chemistry, and then physical chemistry for their characterization. But when I want to study their magnetic properties, it involves physics and material science. So I need help from another host, and then this research is really interdisciplinary. So this is what MSCA also encourages, and so I highlighted this. And this was also one of the comment from my reviewer, that the interdisciplinary nature of the project is really clear. And then gender and diversity dimensions, you can include this, and I included, but I did not had any gender aspects of my proposal, so I just wrote that we don't foresee any gender or diversity aspects, but if anything arises, so we will take care of it. And then is very important open science practices. For example, in my first proposal, I was lacking, although the science part was strong, but here I did not exactly understand what open science practices are, or what is research data management. So here you emphasize that you will the results that you will achieve, you will share them early. You will publish them in open science journals, and this will be available in different accessible data depositories, and also in the research data management. I mentioned that a solid plan will be developed, and all the data will be stored at different depositories, different computers, and it will ensure that it is safe and easily accessible. So then is excellence part is the quality of supervision and transfer of knowledge. So this is about your supervisor and how the knowledge will be transferred. So again, 1.3 part is already on the template, but I divided it into further 3 parts. So first part was qualification and experience of my host. So here I made a table, and I mentioned that my host is very experienced in managing ERC European proposals. For example, he achieved ERC starting grant back in 2012, proof of concept grant, and also consolidator grant, and many other grants. And he has mentored many PhD students, many postdocs, and he has produced many independent research group leaders, and who are running their own labs. So he is qualified and experienced, and who can handle my proposal or my MSCA experience very well. And then training program for the researcher. So here I mentioned that I will get sufficient professional and personal training. So my host has all those career development resources and opportunities that I will benefit from. So So this will be very helpful for me. So then I mentioned how I will develop my career development plan, and then I mentioned training and the courses that I will get. And here I made a table where I showed that what kind of skills I want to achieve and what will be their impact and what is the activity or the source where I will get this. So this all relates that these things that I'm mentioning are not just on paper. These are demonstrated, and I have clear idea or the plan where I will get these skills or these training. So then I made a section for two-way transfer of knowledge, and here I demonstrated that how I will receive training or how I will benefit. And in the second section I demonstrated that how my host will benefit from me, what skills I have, the strength I have that my host does not have, and how I will contribute to that. So then comes last part of excellence section, which is quality of the researcher. So here I divided into 5 subsections. So this is also very important that here you have to relate that you are the right person, you have the right skill set and the training that can help you to execute successfully the MSCA proposal that you are proposing. So here first subheading that I made was research experience and skill match with the project. This was very important that I have to demonstrate that my research experience in my PhD of synthesizing molecular material and open shell material and how I handle them, I grew, and that will be helpful for me to execute this project. The material here I'm proposing are completely different. They will be made in a different routes, but the training I have will be very helpful. And then I talk about my research accomplishment, that like what I have so far published and what awards or honors I have achieved. For example, I made a table for my research publication. I write what role I had in that publication, what journal it was, what impact factor it had, and what were the key findings. So this clearly tell that I have accomplished something in my PhD, and then this will be helpful for me to also accomplish in future. And then demonstrate leadership and independent thinking. So here I mentioned that how I solved long-standing challenge in my lab, and how I thought critically about it, and how it was further awarded funding from different funding agencies, because we solved some challenging problem, and I was at the forefront in solving that problem. So this showed my leadership and independent thinking skills. And then mentoring and teaching. So I also mentioned that how I mentored successfully to undergrad students, and if you're involved in any teaching, helping, you can also mention it here. And then awards and honors. I mentioned that I was awarded Fulbright PhD, and I was also awarded some other fellow honors during my PhD, which has a recognition of my work. So this also really helped, and these things are really mentioned by the reviewers, that clearly this researcher has the potential and has a track record, and has the potential to become independent researcher in the future. So then next is the most interesting thing that I want to show you is evaluation of my first proposal. So here I got 81.2% score, and my excellence part scored 4.3 out of 5, which is not bad, I would say. I have seen people with 4.3, 4.4. They were funded. But really I lacked was in my implementation in the impact section in my first proposal. So here they mentioned that the state of art, the weakness of this proposal, that state of art is not clearly defined, and how my proposed work goes beyond the state of art. So this was really lacking. So I really emphasized that in my second proposal. Then open science practices are not sufficiently developed, and then training and activities are not sufficiently elaborated. So for second proposal, I made a separate table for my training activities, and I explain really where I will get this training and what will it benefit me. So when in my second proposal, evaluation summary is something like this, where I got 97.6% score, which is quite high in my field. And then the most interesting thing for me was that they could not find significant weakness in my first section of the excellence. So all the three reviewers basically agreed that this proposal is really excellent and it does not have significant weaknesses. So I got 5 out of 5 in this section. I will not go through all the strengths mentioned here. You can maybe read, but what things are like research objectives, comprehensively justified, description of state of art is comprehensive and exposes very well innovative aspects of proposed work. Then pertinence of proposed methodology is convincingly explained. Multidisciplinary aspects of proposal are clearly outlined. Proposed measures of research data describes and adequate scientific and transferable skills of the researcher will develop during the action are convincingly outlined. Scientific knowledge that researcher will transfer to host is clearly outlined, and the researcher has excellent track record of scientific achievements, and then experience of researcher in solution synthesis, and all these things will help in implementation of the proposal. So I hope this information that I provided will be helpful for you while writing your proposal, and the tips that I provided, I hope these are practical and will help you to write a strong proposal. Finally, what I want to say is once you have done writing excellence section and you're convinced, just look whether you have correctly linked your objective to your work packages, to the knowledge gap, to the methodology, and to the results. Ensure that there is innovation aspect in your proposal. It's justified, not just claimed. Avoid over promising, because when you want to show the ambitiousness, you have to keep the balance with the feasibility, that this is feasible, executable, realistic, but still ambitious, and align the goals of MSCA mission, mobility, training, and impact on the society and on the science. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and this will be helpful for you for your MSCA proposal. Thanks for watching, and I wish you good luck for your MSCA proposal. I hope to see you in the next video, which will be dedicated for implementation